many things. I really appreciate it. I'm going to jump right into some of the great questions that have been submitted here. So Justice, I am coming back to you. And one of our participants says, are there any laptop type or other type of products that translate medical information for patient to Braille or for a sight impaired patient? Parenthesis, yes, Justice, you are very handsome. And so I'm wondering if you can share with us, you mentioned taking notes, etc. What is the best way for you to get access to medical information or written information?
Thank you very much for the compliment. Yeah, I may not give you like an exhaustive answer to this question, but generally we have some screen readers, for example, JAWS, that you can install in any computer. And as long as the computer can be connected to an internet, you can have access to your medical information online. So for example, Kaiser would have kp.org. From there, you can access your medical information and maybe after visit and stuff like that. There may be some more sophisticated technologies that can help in doing some more advanced things, or for persons with vision loss. But that may be something that we can do some more research to provide answers for. Then we still have, you can use a Braille. It's either use, we have, what is it called again? We have Braille display. It's very portable that you can use. Either you type using the Braille, or if you have your phone and you can type, for those who are partially sighted, they can use their phone and type and send and, transfer their notes to their Braille display. So you have a lot of flexible ways to still take your notes and store your information.
Well, thank you very much. That is really helpful. Dr. Felder, I'm going to turn to you. And I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about disability simulations. We've got a couple questions that have come in, and I am just going to let you take it from there.
Yeah, this is Feldner speaking. Absolutely. This is, I think, one of the kind of critical points of tension within healthcare and medical training and education. And so it's a sticky topic for sure. And I do want to kind of start off by distinguishing, healthcare simulations are common, right? Especially in nursing or medical education, where these involve like smart mannequins that breathe and bleed and have medical crises and emergent health as they give birth, right? Like there's really cool technology out there to facilitate learning. And that is not the kind of simulation that we are talking about here. Where it tends to go awry, rather, is in those experiences where it's like along the lines of wheelchair for a day. Go out into the community in your hospital grade wheelchair and try and navigate the city and to see how hard it is, right? These are experiences that are designed to encourage empathy. They are designed to provide like a little slice of that. But because, what happens when, as a non-wheelchair user, what happens when I get out of the wheelchair at the end of the day? Oh man, that was hard. Life must suck with a disability if I need to use a wheelchair full time. And so that's where that reinforcement of stereotypes tends to come in. It also tends to reduce the lived experience of disability into this like very minute piece of daily life that may very well be hard, but I would rather hear it from the perspective of the person that lives that every single day, and that's their embodiment, rather than trying to think that or rather than claiming that I can possibly understand what it's like to live with a particular disability if I've experienced it for a day or a moment. And so those are the things that where I think, although well-intentioned, we really need to take a closer look at as a healthcare community, because those experiences, as we have heard from many people in the disability community, are reductionist, don't serve, actually create increased feelings of pity or things like that. And there are alternatives, right? So some of the things that we've kind of seen instead is doing an accessibility audit. So actually teaming up with somebody with lived experience and hanging out with them for the day and letting them kind of say, okay, here, this is a really accessible entrance for me, and here's why. Whereas someone else might say, for me, if I need to get into this classroom, I have to go and sit at the front of the room every single time. There's no opportunity for me to go in a different space if I want to, or what if I'm late, then everyone's, seeing me as I come in, and I have to sit right next to the professor, which is never comfortable, right? So those types of accessibility audits where you're actually kind of tagging along and learning from that person as an expert is a fantastic alternative, right? We in our program, we have really been careful about paying people to come in and give guest lectures as an alternative to, trying to reproduce something ourselves. And this is a transition, right? Like this takes a lot of thinking about, I think, very deeply. It's certainly something that I experienced when I was a student in physical therapy school. We absolutely did these types of simulations. They're still done today in a lot of programs. I'm happy to say that we have eliminated them from our program here at UW. And in fact, when I was first teaching, I would include them myself, right? This was before I went back and did my PhD in disability studies. And so I feel pretty strongly about them alongside a lot of members of the disability community because I've sat with that material, or I've sat with that concept, and I've sat with that, why that could be seen as really not representative of a person's lived experience. And so I think that, now I see, like, I just have a different perspective now. And I think that's important to recognize too, that people in the healthcare community probably have a very wide-ranging perspective on this issue in particular. And that's okay, but I think we need to engage in that dialogue and really listen to our allies and our leaders in the disability community who are saying this isn't the best way to go about this. There are other really impactful ways to learn about the disability experience.
Yeah, this is Heather. I thank you so much for that. And